I honestly was very excited to see Mufasa because it's a story that I haven't seen before. And from what I could tell, they at least improved on the graphics from the first iteration Lion King remake, which is not actually a live action remake, but a CGI remake. But anyways, tomato, tomato. The movie starts off almost exactly the same, except that they imply that there's going to be a new lion cub born. And we see Simba starting to address all the other animals that honestly don't look like that many, to be quite frank. And all I'm thinking is, Jesus Christ, several of these animals are eaten by lions. They even admit to this in the first movie.
Dad, don't we eat the antelope?
Yes, Simba, but let me explain. When we die, our bodies become the grass, and the antelope eat the grass. And so, we are all connected in the great circle of...
Yeah, but you still eat them though, so either they're extraordinarily stupid or they all deserve to be eaten. Either way, yet they have to be completely okay with that and come and worship the king that freaking eats them and their children. It'd be different if you like tax them for grass or something, but to straight up be freaking eaten? Sorry, but even in the first movie, this always fell apart for me. Like, why would the animals feel the need to worship the lions when the lions eat their children and prey on them? It just never made any sense. But anyway, here we are. Now, I know this is gonna sound super weird, but I actually liked this movie. I also liked some of the old Resident Evil movies, but I also liked movies like Alien Covenant. So I'm aware that regardless of whether or not I am entertained by a movie, I can admit when the movies have clear issues and are very stupid based on the logic that's presented in the movie. And Mufasa is no different, because yes, it had a host of issues. I will say there's one particular part of the movie that I liked more than anything, and it was for a very particular reason that nobody would ever guess, that almost can be seen as completely a separate issue from this entire review. I'll get into what that is later. I'll also get into why this movie was probably a bad idea, considering the original is so well loved. Now, despite the fact that I've already said that I enjoy this movie, it did feel very rushed. And after I finished the movie, the ending was freaking stupid, to be honest, and felt even more rushed than it already did. I would even venture to say this movie should just straight out have never have been made. I do respect that at least they tried to do something different, give us another story that we've not gotten before. So there is that, but let's get into the issues. And I don't have a lot of footage to go on, so I might have to redo it at some point later, but oh my god. The animals did go from looking decent to uncanny at parts throughout the movie. Like, we have Zazu, who still has to look like how he looked in the first remake or the version before this, but it still ended up making him look just like a freaking bird. But despite that, it's still a slight improvement. We can see that the lions do look more animated. Their faces look like, you know, they're laughing. We can see that they're happy here because cats do have emotions. But you could see here they look a little bit more cartoonish, which is an improvement. I still think this should have been just like anime, but whatever. In the first part of the movie, we see instances of the dialogue just being strange, like when Nala is pregnant and she's lying down in her den and she says, "I'm here, Simba, I'm here." Like, why did she have to repeat it? Anyway, the most egregious part of the movie, Timon and Pumbaa.
Well, what do we have here?
Move your head and let me see, come on. Oh, this is the thing!
What thing?
It's the thing!
Now, I get that they're supposed to be comedic relief, but am I the only one who watched this movie, like, for the few of us that did, right? And could not stand them. And mind you, I loved them in the original movie. Bruh, Pumbaa, I'm sorry, I know that's how warthogs look, but...
Ew, girl! Ew!
He doesn't have much character in his face. They tried to improve it by making his non-existent eyes look a little bit brighter, but no. He doesn't have any character in his face. Neither does Timon, and you saw that little clip I showed when Timon was right up on the camera. It looks very uncanny. And I'm sorry, but the both of them came off super annoying. They were cute and endearing and wholesome and actually comedic in the original animated movie, but in this, they're just unnecessary. Unnecessarily annoying, and they don't even need to be in this movie, to be honest. It's just weird. They went from being two of the most beloved characters, the most beloved duo, and Timon, when I first saw this, I had a crush on him, not the freaking animal, the personality, the character, you know what I'm talking about. Because he just got that Beetlejuice shit going on. And I went from absolutely loving them to absolutely loathing them in this movie. So congratulations for that. The thing is, in the first movie, it made sense. Their presence completely made sense in the movie. Let's be honest, after that, they just became this marketing tool, and it was so much nicer when you'd watch shows. Like, you can actually go back and have a collection of an actual Timon and Pumbaa show that literally just featured the two of them, and that was fine. But there's literally no reason for them to be throughout this entire movie because the movie is actually a story that Rafiki is telling to Kiara. Look at this. This is freaking nightmare fuel right here. Disgusting. And Timon and Pumbaa are just there to babysit Kiara, but Rafiki ends up babysitting her anyway, and they're just there to constantly break the fourth wall to the point where it just ruins the immersion for the movie movie. They're mentioning stuff about, oh, we're not the main characters. We don't have scenes in this. Oh, remember that play that someone played where we were just sock puppets? It's very annoying. And I don't know why they bothered doing it. They took a joke that was like the original joke when it's like, oh, this is funny. Oh my God, people are laughing. Keep hammering that joke in until it's completely dead in the ground. And people are just sitting there like, okay, now it's no longer funny. Now you're just being cringe. So Rafiki's telling the story about Mufasa and his childhood before Simba was in the picture, when Mufasa was little, because Kiara's scared of the storm. And so when Rafiki ends up telling the story, I'm thinking that we're gonna get, his origin story of a king. First of all, what was really dumb about this movie, and I know everyone's probably wondering whether or not I actually like the movie because there's so much bad about it, but like I said, I still enjoyed the journey. It was cute. If I had to choose to see it again, maybe I would. Also helped that I didn't pay for it. But anyway, Simba's mother and father were, sorry, not Simba. Mufasa's mother and father were not royalty, and there was a flood. He got separated from his parents. It looked like his father died or something, or they both died, whatever. Then we meet Taka, which is Scar, on the riverbank. Now, he is a prince. This family is actually royalty. So Scar, aka Taka, was actually royalty, and Mufasa was not. He's just some random stray, as they called him. So already, the entire basis of this movie is Mufasa basically taking what belonged to Taka. They had to paint Mufasa. I mean, it's funny because they dedicated this whole movie to James Earl Jones, who voiced Mufasa in the original Disney animation, but yet the entire movie is basically making Mufasa look like the biggest dick. Did not deserve what he got, and he didn't earn it. It's so messed up when you really think about it. But he comes to this land, Taka saves his life, and they have to keep doing that stupid homage thing, and they do it like 3 times throughout the movie, where when Taka is rescuing Mufasa, the little cub, from the crocodiles that are about to eat him, he sinks his claws into him like, the time when Scar... So they played this part over and over again, and it was something that Taka did when he was little, and it was always something he did whenever he was about to save Mufasa. I understand. It seemed as though they looked at the original movie and they're like, let's force a story. Let's try to make something to make all of this make sense and to explain everything that happened in the first movie. But then Mufasa wouldn't have looked so outraged and screamed out in pain. Yes, it's painful when someone drives their claws into your paws. He would have known that this is something that his brother would have done to save him because he's done it so many times before. But Mufasa actually looks outraged here. He would have been like, ow, okay, he's gonna help me. See the way Mufasa looks like,
what the fuck?
That's not, oh, that's what he's doing to help me. That's surprising to him because Scar did it to hurt him. He did it to hold him in place, to let him know, look, you're not coming up here, bro. I'm gonna fuck your wife and eat your son. And we know why Scar was upset, but then when we add the motivation as to why it even turned into that in the first place, the movie just completely unravels. It's like you start pulling a thread and then the whole thing just turns into freaking soup, and you're like, oh no, the thread is now liquid. Now I can't even catch it or try to sew it back because it's now literally broth on the ground. I know that makes no sense, but you get what I'm trying to give you the imagery of how it felt to me. Maybe they could try to explain it away by making the case that Taka already betrayed Mufasa before, but still, it makes no sense. The other thing is they give Mufasa powers. I don't understand where this came from because we didn't really see much of it in the animated film. I don't know if they're trying to imply because Taka's father didn't want Mufasa around and Taka's like, well, I saved him. And Taka's father was like, all right, well, you need to stay with the bitches because you're not one of my sons. They can raise you. Don't let me see you over here. So he's told Mufasa to stay with them and they taught Mufasa how to hunt. But apparently the powers that Mufasa possesses, it wasn't something that the females had because when he met Sarabi, she was amazed by this. The whole reason these white lions are even after Mufasa and hunting him down is because when they came over here and attacked Eshe, the Scar's mom that raised him and Mufasa together, Mufasa was trying to help protect her when Scar ran away like a bitch and he killed one of the sons in defense. So that's the motivation for why these white lions are going after Mufasa and chasing them across because they want to, or the king wants to get revenge. And also, Taka is the last bloodline of the king that they left back there, of Scar's father. When I say Taka, it means Scar. So it's established that Scar is a prince, but he's not as brave as Mufasa or his father. I mean, he ran away when he saw his mom getting attacked. while Mufasa took care of her. Also, it's strange that in the CGI versions of The Lion King, Scar is a whiter lion than Mufasa and Simba when he was actually the darker lion. I don't know if they did that on purpose because they were like, we don't want dark people to look like, that wasn't the case. We all know that the darker lion would have been more handsome, so it would have made complete sense why Scar was darker because he's of more royalty. But anyway, so they grow up together and they're very close, and Taka's like, I always wanted a brother. And I actually cried when they were racing because Taka was winning and he's like, I have a secret to tell you, Mufasa. I always wanted a brother because the father said that if whoever won, if he won, then Mufasa would leave or some shit like that. And he let Mufasa win so that Mufasa could stay with him. And he did save his life. Taka saved Mufasa's life. I mean, he went to bat for his brother. So after these white lions attack, the white lion is like, I am the king. Ain't no king here but me. And Scar's father was like a coward, which I don't know why they wrote him like that because they're trying to imply that, oh, a king just gets to be lazy and do whatever. And there's this narrative going around that lions do that. And as you actually learn about animals, because I actually have a degree in wildlife science, that is not actually what happens. Yes, a lot of lions conserve energy and the females will go out and they'll hunt. The male lions do hunt too, but if they have a pride of females, the females are more agile, they hunt in packs, then it's fine. Sometimes the lions will even hunt with them. The lion don't really need the females to hunt with him to get their food. And before they even find another pride of their own females, they will hunt on their own or join a band of brothers and hunt. Have you ever seen a male lion hunt? They can take down an animal that would require 5 lionesses to take down. And the male's purpose is to also keep the lionesses and their children safe and protect the territory. The female lions ain't fighting the male lions. The male lions are the ones doing that and protecting them from other predators and other lions that would come and try to violate them and kill their children. It is what it is. So I don't know why they still have this archaic narrative in this movie with the lions. And I don't know why they also made Scar's father a freaking coward. It would have made sense if they made him more physically weaker because they explain that these lions are way bigger. And they do try to make them look bigger, these white lions, right? You could have let Scar's father just go out but no, he comes from a coward. Even though he's from royalty, he comes from a cowardly sire, which doesn't make any sense because the female lions would have followed him anyway because they would have been contested for. But anyway, whole short end of the story is Scar comes from royalty, Mufasa does not. Mufasa helped to protect Eshe, and the king is like, Mufasa, I'm indebted to you. They're gonna try and kill all of us, and I want my son to survive. This white lion, I think his name is Umbasi or something. Not the white lion, Scar's father, sorry. Cares that his son will stay alive, so he asked Mufasa to go and take Scar somewhere far away so that Scar can carry on the bloodline of being a king. So Mufasa says he'll do it. He has the superpowers to be able to smell and detect where things are. Other people can't. Eshe kind of helped him hone in his skills to do this. And so Mufasa decides to do this. During the journey of Mufasa trying to find this land called Malele, this magical paradise that his mother told him about when he was little, he finds Rafiki, who is booted from his clan because he's a mandrill, and the baboons just were weirded out because he was having visions and stuff. They're like, oh, he's crazy. So that he had to go on his own. He's like, no problem. Guy has no freaking emotions about it. He's like, oh, it is time. Like, are you trying to pay homage to the old movie? It just came off very weird and contrived. It just if you've seen the original movie, you're like, what the frick is going on? But anyway, and then the way he got the stick, there's so many contrivances in this movie that you just have to laugh because of how ridiculous it is. So then they meet Sarabi and Zazu. Apparently, Sarabi is of royal blood as well. Zazu was her, I guess, who the father put over her to protect her and scout for her and keep her safe and whatnot. So it wasn't Simba's, it wasn't Mufasa's, which is weird enough itself. So Sarabi was royalty, but Mufasa was not. There's Taka behind her. So they're basically escorting the king, the last bloodline of the king, to Malele. Mufasa didn't find Malele. Rafiki did. During this time, and this is the part of the movie that I liked, right? Sarabi catches the interest of Taka. So Taka really likes Sarabi, and he let his brother know, hey, I'm into her, bro. What do I do? You've been around females your whole life. How do I talk to her? And Simba said the most interesting things. He said, act uninterested or disinterested or whatever. And when she talks, listen. And during the whole time, Simba was a freaking Chad. Simba was acting like you didn't even even know he liked Sarabi. Maybe he was like attracted to her. Sorry, I keep calling him Simba. Mufasa. Maybe he was attracted to her, but she'd be like, oh, good job, Mufasa, you did. And he's like, yeah, thanks. And he was just acting like a G. I was like, oh, snap. Okay, I can't even blame Sarabi there. It's so hot when a guy is like, oh, I can protect you, I can lead, and I'm not simping over you like Taka was. Taka was making a fool of himself, and Mufasa's like, what the hell? Did he just ask her if she smells like a duck? And she picked up that because Mufasa could smell things from far away, she learned his power. That, oh wait, when Taka said that he smelled the duck flowers from my valley, it wasn't him, it was you. She also picked it up because when there was a stampede and they were trying to get away from the white lions who were pursuing them, Sarabi dropped the beehive and Mufasa protected her because she got knocked out by the elephants. So Mufasa actually saved her and was sheltering her underneath one of the rocks as the stampede of elephants went by. And he was like, I got you, I got you. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then later on, when he's playing with Rafiki, he says the same thing to Rafiki when he slipped in the snow. And Mufasa was like, I got you, I got you. And that's when Sarabi remembered, oh, it was Mufasa that pulled me away from the stampede. But he's also having dreams about her, so he likes her, but he knows his brother is in love with her. Keep that in mind, by the way. So Sarabi's coming on to Mufasa. They're falling in love, and basically, to be honest, they're taking all the same beats from the old movie and just making it Mufasa's story. It's really silly. And of course, Mufasa's completely ignoring Sarabi because she's off limits. His brother's in love with her. So when they finally achieve something and they erase the tracks so that the white lions won't follow them, Mufasa had asked Zazu to do this. He's praising Zazu, right? He's like, Zazu, you did it, you did it. And Zazu's like, oh, you know, feeling all good about himself. And Sarabi comes up and interrupts him and is like, no, Mufasa, you did it. And then she like rubs up on him, you know, the cat way. And it's so obvious that she's into him and he's hugging her back. And the look of betrayal on Scar's face. He's like, oh my God, bitch, are you fucking serious, bro? Like, it's not Sarabi's fault, but you could tell he's hurt as he's giving the brother the look like, you fucking traitor. Mufasa's like, shit. Because he likes this girl too, dude. That's the thing that will drive brothers apart. You have one girl, like, how do you handle that? If your little brother is in love with a girl and that girl is head over heels for you and you're trying to be like, nah, I'm not touching that because my brother likes her, and the girl just doesn't want having to do with your brother. She wants to be on your dick. Like, how do you handle that? Like, you've known each other since you were kids. This is a very silly situation because Taka's angry, I get it, but then he uses this as his first motivation to betray them. That was where this all started. And that's where Sarabi was like, you have these special powers, you know, you can tell where things are before you see them and blah, blah, blah. And so they do the whole Can You Feel the Love Tonight in a different song. And the songs are not bad. Like, I don't like musicals, but when it comes to like Disney stuff, I'm okay with it. But I actually do like the songs. The songs were decent. Not as good as the original, but still decent. I was like, okay, I can add a few of these to my playlist to listen to. And while he's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about, he's trying to resist this woman and she just keeps being super forward with him. And then he's like, fuck. So he gives in. Scar, aka Taka, is watching while they're like nestling next to each other. And he's like, I know this bitch did not. He's super hurt. And then he sings his own song about how he trusted him. I saved your life. This is how you repay me. The first girl that I actually really like, you take her from me. And I can feel where Scar is coming from. Maybe it's temporary insanity because he's in love. So he betrays Mufasa, finds the white lions, and tells them, hey, I can lead you to Malele. I'll leave some marks so you can track them, which is still stupid because then he's like, he took Mufasa's the reason why you guys killed my father, and now I don't have a father, and this king is like, now I don't have a son, and then Scar's like, my king, and this guy just is fine with it. And this is where the motivation starts to fall apart. This is near the last section of the movie because this white lion was tracking them down specifically. Yes, Mufasa is the one that killed his son, but he also didn't want the bloodline of Scar to continue. So regardless, he should have wanted to kill Scar anyway after he used him, but that wasn't the case. Now he just adopts this guy. Okay, whatever. Maybe they're both going through grief. White lions are pretty though, I gotta say. Mufasa, when Taka comes back and he's like, where were you, bro? He's like, I was hunting, but I'm not as good as you. And then Mufasa's like, dude, I have something to tell you. And he wants to tell him about Sarabi, but Scar kind of cuts him off and he leaves the tracks for the white lions to follow. We keep cutting back to Kiara and Timon and Pumbaa because you gotta have comedic relief to break all the feelings that are happening. They should have just cut this all out of the movie. They're annoying. Even better yet, Mufasa should have been its own self-contained movie instead of a prequel that Rafiki in the present was telling in story form to Kiara and Timon and stupid Pumbaa. So they reach Malele. Rafiki says to Mufasa that the vision he had with his brother being here actually turned out to be Mufasa. now implying that Mufasa is Rafiki's brother. Also, I don't know why they did this. This was so heavy-handed and devoid of creativity, because when Scar was talking with the White Lions about Mufasa and offering up his assistance to them, his whole personality changed on a freaking flip. Like, he went from being hurt to putting on the voice of Scar at one point in time, and I was so confused because based on what we see in the first movie, it just didn't seem that this was enough of a motivation for him to become that. Also, they're younger, so Scar wouldn't have taken on that voice so soon. It's almost as though Scar is his alter ego. Well, the cat is out of the bag. It is revealed to Mufasa that Scar is a traitor, and the dialogue during the last part of this movie, I mean, it was throughout, but especially in the last part of the movie, it made absolutely no sense. It felt very forced and rushed, like someone just threw the script together. And it doesn't make sense that this White Lion would trust Scar so easily, given where he came from. Also, there was a part of me that was hoping as though, since Scar is supposed to be very intelligent from what we see in the animated film, that Scar would use this opportunity to trick this lion, but he's in his feelings. So the White Lion fights Simba, and Simba runs away, Mufasa, and Mufasa runs away because the White Lion is a much better fighter than him. Then this part just gets me. Mufasa is telling everyone, we need to get the other animals to join in. No one has seen Mufasa since he was little. Also, for what we know about Mufasa, he was separated from his parents since he was a cub. They weren't royalty. It's not like a bunch of animals knew them, but yet the animals in Malele know him? The royalty of the animals knowing the king comes down to the individual being of royal blood. So when Scar and Mufasa were little and they were singing that song, which was obviously a mirror to Simba and Nala in the first movie, the animated movie, the real movie I should call it. That made sense that the animals would be like, are you supposed to be out this far? I thought your father didn't want you this far, dude. But yet now these animals, some of them, like the giraffe, says that you're Mufasa, you're in danger. You're like, how do you know who he is? Then Mufasa says, we need to fight these lions. And they say, but your fight is not my fight. The same giraffe who tried to say he was in danger and tried to help him, all of a sudden's like, but your fight's not our fight. Fair enough. But then the speech that he gives him, hey, we're all connected. We are all one. Really? When you eat my people? But then the dumbass animals are like, you know what? Yeah, we are though, even though you eat us, but yeah, let's do this. And then the entire host, like this is freaking Avatar, and Pandora has turned against the intruders, start aiming for the White Lions. How would they know which one's which? Because to these animals, the lions are all the same. And this fight goes on for a while. You would think that there's millions of White Lions. No, there's a small pride of these White Lions. And for some reason, every single animal in Africa is finding it hard to kill them because this fight is going on for quite a long while when it should have been over quite quickly, and it wasn't. I don't understand what they're supposed to be fighting if these White Lions have superpowers or some shit, but this just fell apart. First of all, it was rushed as hell that all the animals, every single one was like, yeah, let's listen to this nobody lion that we don't know who is not even royalty. But then Mufasa goes to fight the White Lion. He is losing, and then Scar sees the fight. He's watching from the shadows as he always does. And this was also the place where we see Scar playing with the mouse in the intro of the first animated movie. They're meant to pay homage to that. That's what that is. And he remembers, oh, he's my brother and I actually love him, after I guess he has some post-nut clarity. And then he attacks the White Lion and they fight him together. And then his mother's voice echoes in, saturates his heart from when she said, there will be a moment when you'll find courage. And the White Lion scratches his eye, and that's how he got his scar, which should be a never-ending reminder to Mufasa that he saved his life. I mean, that's what happened, but it's still your brother, dude. So while the fight is happening, there's a freaking earthquake, and the freaking thing falls and turns into Pride Rock. I don't know why they went to the lengths to even do this. It feels so pretentious and cringeworthy, because they're trying to piece together and thread through every hole that isn't even there. It's like there's a hole that they want to put the thread through, so they make one on purpose so they can thread it. We didn't need to know why Pride Rock was made. It could have just been a rock that was formed that way. They used it that way. Why did it have to be a result of the great battle between the lions within the rock? That's so stupid. That was, oh god, I remember like when I watched this for the first time, I was laughing my ass off because of how freaking ridiculous it was. I was just thinking to myself, who smoked and wrote this story? Someone said, hey guys, I need you to make a story out of the first movie to explain the occurrences in the first movie. And these people were like, you know what? I got you, fam. I'm gonna be thorough as fuck. And to the point where it's a little too thorough. Then they're stuck in the water. And then Mufasa remembers Esha, his mother figure, being all like, remember your powers. You can hear and feel things, and that's when he looks up and realizes that a boulder is coming towards him in the water. I don't know why I said it like that. He looks up. Oh, because of my powers, I happen to look up and see this. Not because there's a shadow forming over me because a freaking boulder is coming towards us. He moves out of the way and kills the white lion. Oh no. Then he sees Scar waiting for him, and yet again, there has to be the same setting from the freaking animated movie, scene by scene, shot by shot, so that it is obvious to us what is happening, to remind the audience that this is the story we're taking this from, right guys? See, we connected the dots. Oh my god, do you remember? And for a moment there, Scar is wondering if he should kill this guy, and he brings him up from the water. I'm sorry, water. All the animals are rejoicing. It would be funny as hell if like half an hour later, okay, that was a great fight. We're hungry as fuck. So, which one of y'all want to like sacrifice yourselves, you know? Since at this moment, they're all like, you're our new king, Mufasa, you're our king. Because they helped him fight a battle that wasn't their battle to begin with. Because he said that they'll just start with us and come around to you, which was a lie. These animals are stupid. The elephants are supposed to be the most intelligent ones out of this entire group, including the lion. So the elephant should have been like, well, dude, we're elephants. They can't do shit to us. Like, they're not hyenas. They don't have a pride or an army of hyenas behind them. They're just a few lions. And we kill bitches like you. So why on earth would the elephants be bowing anyway? So Mufasa's like, no more kings, right? We're all the same. We're all equal. Okay, but he quickly took that position anyway. And mind you, Scar, Taka, is supposed to be the king. His father trusted you to lead him to a place where he can continue and carry out his bloodline. You not only took his woman, you usurped the throne. So Mufasa's a usurper. And what the frick is his name? Rafiki, it's basically like, you know, a king doesn't come from royal blood, it's what's inside or some stupid shit like that. So he's a freaking instigator, looking like a whole ass banana with mold growing on it. Stick looking like it's made out of freaking human balls. And Sarabi's like, yes, I got me a daddy. Then he smells his mother and remembers her scent. And of course, we couldn't get it as the audience. We couldn't get his father being alive and him being reunited with his dad because screw dudes, right? He didn't have a father figure growing up, so you couldn't have him meet his father? Why? Oh well, I guess that they would have probably been like, well, why didn't he save him anyway? and this whole thing with him meeting his mother again didn't feel, I guess they're trying to emulate Sarabi and Simba being reunited. It just looked weak. It felt very weak. There was no emotion. Then Scar acts all weird, and you would think that Mufasa would say, we need to go have a talk. He just straight out is like, my brother is welcome here just like everybody else, but I will never call you by your name again. And then Scar's like, well, call me Scar so I won't ever forget what I did. And then he leaves and he's like, yeah. And then he slinks away and then completely forgets that that's his brother. Look, I know your brother betrayed you, but you stole his woman. Like, I mean... She wasn't even his to begin with. I get that. He's being an idiot. But you can understand the betrayal. You didn't even go off and be like, let's talk. They didn't give them a human... Well, these are anthropomorphized characters. So they didn't give him a human moment that we could relate to where he's like, dude, why? Why? And to have Scar explain, I was hurt. I felt betrayed. I felt like you took my crown from me. You took the person who would have been my queen. You took everything from me, even though I saved your life. No, Mufasa is just straight up portrayed as a fucking dick. I understand it's not his fault. He fell in love with Sarabi, but you did kind of take the dude's crown. His family trusted you. You got led here to Malele, and you didn't give the crown to Taka. Maybe he wouldn't have been that good as a king. Maybe you could have ruled by his side. He even said when you were kids and you were doing that little dance that you're gonna be right by my side, bro. That's what Taka said. Taka would have still been king, and you would have been his advisor, and you probably would have been doing all the work anyway, and people would have respected you. But you stole his crown from him. You didn't even sit and talk with him, even after he cut you off. You should have still been like, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you like Sarabi. No, none of that. So all of this to say, this is why I said in the beginning, this movie probably should not have been made, because all it successfully did was painted Mufasa as a fucking asshole. Even though I still enjoyed the movie up until the last part, I don't know why I'm surprised, because Disney has this bad habit of bringing back good male characters and making them awful. They have a way of successfully executing these characters by telling us, the audience,
remember this character that you loved and respected? Well, here's what it really is. This character is an asshole and a loser. How about that? That's the real story.
Who else felt more sad for Scar and looked at Mufasa with way less respect? He also didn't earn any of his powers, because if he had superpowers where he was just living his life on easy mode, then what is there to respect about him? He didn't earn anything. It was just given to him. He's got that Pocahontas shit going on where he could just paint with all the freaking colors of the wind. So I'm sorry. What is there to respect? A dude who was saved by his a person who sacrificed everything. The mother, first of all, didn't teach Scar anything. She could have taught him. She neglected her son to favor this guy, but you could have taught your son, Taka, how to do those same skills. Nobody was stopping you from doing that, but you chose not to. So you abandoned him. And then they try to showcase like the father and all the male lions are stupid or dumb. And you think the mother would want him to be like that, right? Especially with Mufasa being a part of the family and Taka and Mufasa always being with each other. Why would he not have been along training with Mufasa and his mother? It doesn't make any sense. They're inseparable. They always want to be together. It doesn't make any sense. The writing was so horrible, and it felt like they made this movie just to shit on Mufasa's face while he was still rotting in the grave. So many plot holes, so much weirdness. It was rushed, and like I said, the only part of the movie that I remember and that stood out to me was Simba not being a simp for Sarabi. Also, again, this is not enough of a motivation for Scar to have turned the way he did, but I guess it would explain in the first movie why Scar was like, you know what? I hate Mufasa because he took everything from me. You've seen him be happy and all that, and he took everything from me. I saved his life. He banished me. Like, I got nothing. I got jack shit since I've let this guy into my life. I got nothing for it. He stole my family. He stole my girl, the girl I liked. I didn't even get a chance for her to know me. He stole my crown. Scar, you're trying to tell us now, as Disney always does, that guy, Scar's misunderstood and he wasn't the bad guy. It was Mufasa who was the bad guy all along, and he was the reason why Scar turned into the way he did. I don't know was this new era of all the villains being misunderstood and Disney rewriting their characters to make villains look like they're the good guys. And like with the Jedi thing, making the good guys look like they were the bad guys. But it's super annoying. Then Kiara is in the present, starts roaring because she had wanted to meet her grandfather, even though you figured that with Mufasa telling Simba all of these stories about the past that he would have told him his own story. Why would he not have told his son that anyway? So she's happy, not afraid, because the story's gone. Her dad's back, and they come back with a new baby, which is weird because wouldn't she have been present at the ceremony for a new royal blood? Also, how is he walking already? How long has it been since her parents were away? Like, how long did it take to tell this story? And how was this baby walking and his eyes open? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And as soon as she meets him, oh, I got a brother? Oh, hey there. Let me tell you the story about Mufasa. And I'm just like, ew. This was one of the worst endings I've ever seen to a movie. This whole movie should not have been made. Yes, I know I have to keep reiterating this. I know you guys probably don't believe me. You probably think I'm in denial or something, but Jesus Christ. I still enjoyed the movie, and I guess I should say what I enjoyed about it. I said the songs, like the way Simba was with Sarabi. Like, okay, there were okay, I can't really, okay, there were parts I enjoyed. The movie had a strong start. I will say the movie had a very strong start. And then like near the middle, after the white lines came up, it just kind of fell apart there. But it was still enjoyable because I like seeing the interaction. Taka and Mufasa's brothers, it just felt like they gave up near the middle of the movie. And then from then on, it was just, hey, here's a decent concept, and let's just throw it together because we don't actually want to write a decent story. We just want to capitalize, and people said they want to see something new, so let's make it new, but wrap it up into all the same beats as the first movie while making it sound like it's from a different perspective. And this time it's Mufasa. Mr. Didn't earn shit. So when you see Mufasa being a glorious king to be respected, you shouldn't feel that way. And also, this movie, in my opinion, cute, but I don't think it's canon.
Simba, let me tell you something that my father told me. Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars.
Really?
Yes. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you, and so will I.
So So how is Mufasa making those speeches about his father before him if he wasn't a freaking king? Mufasa's the first generation king of Malele, so what the fuck is he talking about? See, none of this makes any sense, and there's this great disconnect from the first original movie if you consider that this Mufasa animated CGI mess is actually canon, which I don't think it is. It feels like fan fiction to me. Anyway, it's always interesting when these come out and all it makes you want to do is go back and watch the originals. I liked the attempt. It was cute, but it didn't feel as heartfelt as it did in the beginning of the movie. Now when we look at Mufasa, we think, you freaking usurper! But there's nothing they can do to make me feel any differently about Mufasa, because in my mind, like I just said like 2 times, that Mufasa 2024 movie is not canon. So when you watch it, if you choose to, consider that. Simba does not come from a line of usurpers. Sarabi's not the only one who's royalty. Scar isn't righteously justified in why he did what he did. He's not even the same person. If you can keep that in mind, maybe you'll find some enjoyment out of the Lion King movie. But until then, maybe just watch the original if you really want something to do. And yeah, that is my honest review.
Scar is clearly the good guy, and Mufasa is clearly the bad guy in the new Lion King movie. Scar saves Mufasa's life 4 times. Once when he was a cub about to get eaten by crocodiles and he helps him out. Another time when he lets Mufasa win the race to live. Again when Mufasa was stupidly going to fight Kyros, and instead Taka tackles him into the water and saves him. And lastly, in the end fight with Kyros, Scar sacrifices himself and gets scarred to prevent Mufasa from getting killed.